Baltimore appointed a new police chief, Richard Worley. Acting Police Commissioner Richard Worley, Mayor Brandon Scott launched community engagement meetings in Baltimore City. Now, he was appointed or was the acting appointee about a month ago. And I guess he got maybe sworn in. But like a day before he got appointed, they said they usually host a Brooklyn Day every year. It's called Brooklyn Day. And they had a mass shooting there. I guess it was in one of the projects that they have in this Brooklyn Day. I guess it's similar to Juneteenth, where a bunch of hood rats get together and acting like they celebrating stuff, but actually they just want to get together and drink and fight one another and actually commit violence upon one another. So they tried to blame him for it, which is really ludicrous. He just got there. This is from Fox, and they're asking another police chief, I guess a former police commissioner, of how he feels about this elector.
Baltimore City's new acting police commissioner, Richard Worley, and the man who promoted him, Mayor Brandon Scott, are holding a series of community engagement meetings to promote Worley and hear from residents. For this week's Fox Undercover, we bring in a former police commissioner and current talk show host, Ed Norris, to see if these meetings really do anything. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning.
We have community engagement meetings here, and it was sparked because Worley's confirmation was first postponed after hearing Baltimore City's NAACP. They were saying, hey, we want a nationwide search, and there was some confusion about why there was an internal appointment, they say, without the public getting a say in the next police commissioner. Do you agree?
I like his response, but did you hear that? They wanted the NAACP wanted the people to pick him. That identity politics, because you see Worley, he's a white man. That's why the NAACP, we want a nationwide search. Why? Because he's white. Is that the problem? That identity politics.
They were saying, hey, we want a nationwide search, and there was some confusion about why there was an internal appointment, they say, without the public getting a say in the next police commissioner. Do you agree?
Oh, should the public get a say in who's police commissioner?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. I mean, it's the mayor's decision. I mean, you can't leave this up to I have a vote from the citizen to be the police commissioner. It's the mayor's choice.
It is the mayor's choice. This has been the way for quite some time now, where the mayor appoints the police commissioner. Putting the public say in this, though, some people argue saying, okay, well, that would actually make the community feel safer or better if they got a chance to interact with the police commissioner before he was, or at least some that possibly could be the police commissioner.
That's valid. It's just they don't get to a point, but that's valid. I mean, I think it's just good for people to meet him. I mean, I did the same thing. I went out for weeks and weeks and weeks, a couple of different venues a night. I'd go to 2 churches on Sunday, particularly in the African American community, and I would just lay out the entire crime plan for the city. I would tell them exactly what to expect, what the results would be, and or expected to be. And I did it I may have done it for months before I got confirmed. And some of it, I mean, a lot of it is very, very good interaction where people are actually interested in what the police commissioner has to say.
But that was after you were already given the position, right?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
No, I was the interim commissioner for a long, acting police commissioner for a while.
All right, and that's when you were doing it. So the community does have a good argument here saying, hey, we kind of want to meet this guy, get to know him, and kind of give him some questions and find out exactly how he's going to respond.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's what I said. They have a valid reason to talk to and interact, but they don't get to pick him. So they're not going to select the police commissioner, but they'd have a valid reason to hear what he's got to say. Yes.
All right, and then, we talked about Richard Worley coming through the ranks here in Baltimore. He went through all the ranks coming up here, following what seems to be Commissioner Harrison's kind of plan that was already set in place. You saw Harrison sitting next to him. It seems like, this is our guy kind of a thing. It didn't happen. The confirmation's pushed back. Now community engagement. Then we'll start seeing him in the role. But a lot of people are pointing to the Brooklyn Day shooting and saying, hey, look, you just got the position, and now look what's happening. You're not handling that right. Is that fair to put Worley in that position just a couple days after he was acting police commissioner?
Of course not. It's preposterous. I mean, it's so ridiculous. I can't believe they even say something like this with a straight face. What has he got to do with the Brooklyn shooting? That was, how about the people that actually did the shooting? Do we ever blame them? How about the community? I guarantee you everyone there knows who did the shooting. No one's coming forward. How is it Worley's fault? I just find this to be so frustrating sometimes. People know who this was. They know who the shooters were. Don't tell me they don't. I've been through this. I've seen this movie so many times in this town.
Maybe these community engagements will help them get that conversation going, and they'll be able to find out some leads there. But in the meantime, thank you, Ed. We appreciate it.
And that's Ed Norris. Okay, so he made a valid point. Look, you can't blame the police, and the guy was just getting there on something that happened right away. You can't blame the guy. And why can't we ask the community, hey, who did this shooting? And you tight-lipped. You don't want to give up people, but it's the police fault. No, it's your fault because you got that non-snitch code. And when the police come around and say, okay, can you describe to me the individual? Do you know anything that happened? No, I don't know anything. But you blame somebody else. To me, it's just ludicrous. Like you said, it's ludicrous and ridiculous. This is them at that meeting, council members questioning the new elected police chief.
Wrapped up just after 9 o'clock. Now, Acting Commissioner Rich Worley did take that stand tonight, talking about what his officers failed to do that night and early morning. He did say that multiple calls did come in, but it was not made aware to them that that community was celebrating Brooklyn Day. He says if he did know, he would have had officers in place that would have hopefully prevented this from all happening.
It's really, really important that we learn from what happened on July 2nd.
Thursday night, city council members put the spotlight on the Brooklyn mass shooting, demanding answers from police.
So many times I hear the ball has been dropped.
And I'm struggling to find how we're having a comprehensive conversation when that information is unavailable to the council.
How did the residents know about this and advertise an event that could grow to 700 people, but nobody in city government know?
Acting Commissioner Rich Worley faced tough questions about what went wrong that night, citing communication failure within the department and staffing shortages.
We should have been actively working to find out when Brooklyn Day was. It was going to happen this year. It's happened 27 years in a row. We could have and should have done more.
Worley says around 6, Foxtrot flew over a crowd of 400 people in the Brooklyn neighborhood. By 7 p.m., police received calls from neighbors about a growing crowd celebrating Brooklyn Day, but he says that message was never relayed to police leaders. By 9, police received 2 more calls about hundreds of kids armed with guns and knives, but it was coded no officer needed. At 10:15, Foxtrot flew over the neighborhood again and reported a crowd of 600. Then just 2 hours later, the shooting began. City council members questioned how police were unaware of the party.
I just pulled up Brooklyn Day on my Instagram right now. And you're telling me that we have an entire unit associated with this and they didn't pick that up?
City agency Monsi denied knowing anything about the party, but did say Safe Streets members in the Brooklyn area mediated at least 5 conflicts that happened that evening.
I've been to the Brooklyn Days. There's nothing like this has happened, and I've never seen a police presence at the Brooklyn community.
Members from the Brooklyn community and South Baltimore were also present at Thursday's hearing. They say they often feel forgotten by law enforcement.
I feel like that we are the forgotten part of Baltimore City. This is far greater than a one-time stop.
And Worley says that they are planning for an after-action report that will hopefully answer a lot of the questions that they have been asked. He says that they plan on reviewing a lot of that body camera footage. They're going to be looking into the practices and the training to see if it was implemented that night. They also plan on looking at or talking to other officers to find out when they figured out information and if they actually shared that information with their superiors. Reporting live tonight.
Yeah, okay. You're sharing information with your superiors, but the problem is, how come every other race can have an event without violence? Every single other race can have an event without violence. We're the only people that get together and be violent towards each other. Does that make any sense? That's sickening. And how come all these kids got weapons? Where are these weapons coming from? These illegal weapons. It doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, so Baltimore, they got a new superintendent. And of course, he probably get a lot of slack because he's a white man. They probably wanted a black man. I don't know. You see, they trying to blame that shooting on him under his leadership, but he just got there, you know. So they did drop the ball, but it had nothing to do with him.